If you believe in active management, listen to this. My man Michael Edison. Oh, man. Bringing the freaking hammer. It is awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. And the comments are even better. It's fantastic. So let's just go into this. This is the spectacular failure of the endowment model. This is fantastic. And there's Edison. I've interviewed him a couple times. A good guy. He's a lib. Old school lib, I think. I think he's coming around, man. I think he's coming around. I do. But, there's some things that he will disagree with me on. But we agree more than we disagree. But it's fun. Good guy. Good guy. Long time, first time. All right. In my 2007 book, The Big Investment Lie, I wrote, sauntering through the expensive, glossy outfits of the professional investment field, you may glimpse arcane, sophisticated-sounding articles, suggesting the discourses of an elite corps of exquisitely knowledgeable experts. Yet, in spite of the self-serving message trumpeted to both insiders and outsiders by these arcana, we insiders are smart and extraordinarily capable. The fact is that professional investors do not do better than a random investment picks of a gaggle of monkeys. Why are you going to make the monkeys look bad, Michael? What did the monkeys do to you, man? This could not apply better than the professionals who run, manage, and recommend strategies for pension funds and university endowments. Richard Ennis was for many years a CEO of the highly respected institutional investment firm Ennis Knupp, and has served as editor of the Financial Analysis Journal. He had recently been studying the investment performance of U.S. public pensions and endowments, and he has published previous articles about his investigations right here, and we'll just link this whole article. And if you're interested in this, so as a market watch, why those highly paid investment pros do worse than a 401k committed to a boring stock fund. He just posted what he called a capstone paper to 3 others I've published in the last year. It summarizes his previous findings and discusses what have caused them and what to do about it. The investment performance of U.S. public pensions and endowments in the 12 years since 2008 has been nothing short of abysmal, especially the performance of the top endowments at the universities like Harvard, Stanford, and Yale. Yes, that Yale. Yeah. The one that won top honors for investment performance in the previous era. Lamented and celebrated David Swenson during the period in his study. Yeah, man, I tell you, man. Let's see what this one is right here. I haven't looked at right here. David Swenson, the Yale pioneer who reshaped investing. What was the dateline of this? It doesn't say. I remember that guy. All right, so back in the latter part of the aughts, everybody and their mom wanted to be like Swenson. They wanted timber. They wanted alt investments. They wanted hedge funds of hedge funds. They wanted, obviously just basic run-of-the-mill commodities like gold. It was such. It's like you've been in this business long enough. You just see the same tried and true strategies. You got Swenson. You got the Nifty 50 in the 70s. You got the Cathie Woods today. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And I just, but there's always one that outperforms the vast majority of them. Not all of them, the vast majority of them. Always one. Let's go back. But these guys are raking the bucks. All right. Ennis, furthermore, says they have underperformed with remarkable consistency. Their poor performance is no accident. It's actually structural in nature. The public pension funds, an asset pool of $4.5 trillion with a T, underperformed by an average of 1.52% per year. Had they not underperformed and instead been invested passively in index funds, those funds would have accumulated almost 20% more than they have now. The endowment funds at the universities, the smartest guys on campus, just ask them, they'll tell you. An asset pool of $600 billion underperformed worse by an average of 1.87%. In both cases, the underperformance was equal to their fees. I've said that for years, man. You're going to underperform relative to the fees you pay. It's just all there is to it. It's just basic mathematics. But the performance was worse than what was reported. There is a convention among pensions and endowments to report performance gross of internal management fees. For example, in the case of Yale, the costs incurred by Swensen and his teams are not deducted from the reported performance. Based on its most recent IRS Form 990, sex expenses for Yale were $90 million, which works out to 34 basis points on its AUM. So you had 34 plus that, it's over 2%. Closet index funds. Where have you heard this before, my friends? Closet index funds. You're paying big bucks for closet index funds. You're guaranteed to underperform. You'll underperform by the extent of your fees, without question. Without question. The performance of these funds is statistically indistinguishable from that of a combination of 2 or 3 market index funds. The U.S. stock market index, a bond index, and international index less the fees paid. So basically, you take the U.S., the total stock, the total bond, and you take the international stock, and you're going to get the performance. Then you subtract your fees, and that's what you're going to get, these big heavy hitters. Mr. Ennis discovered that by performing a style analysis of the type has been widely applied since it was proposed by Sharpe in 1988. Style analysis fits the performance over time of an allocation to an investment style categories to the actual performance of the fund over time. It thus infers the allocation of the fund of these analysis. Okay, it's basically we're saying, look, if you did this, what did you do relative to those indices as your basic for your metrics to measure on? All right. In short, the funds could have realized the same performance for a fee, not of 1.52 or 1.87%, but about 1 basis point per year. Ennis says, referring to endowment funds, it is important to acknowledge that there exists a long-standing ethos within the endowment management community to the effect that the institutions are or should be savvy investors. I won't begin to attempt to describe this ethos further, nor will I attempt to justify or critique it. Suffice it to say the phenomenon is real. Trustees of private universities with large endowments invariably believe they can and do better than the average. In their eyes, this requires an active approach. And my man Michael says, I saw this ethos up close 20 years ago when I chaired the investment committee of a nonprofit organization. I had successfully advocated index fund investing with 3 other board members who were power plays, an attorney with a top DC law firm, a CEO with a large oil company, a major donor, started a press for investing in hedge funds. When I asked why, they say Yale does it. Yes, Yale's endowment fund, managed by Swensen, had seen market-beating growth for many years, but mostly because of his allocation to all investments like timberland, hedge funds, and private equity. But that didn't mean merely investing in hedge funds. Any hedge fund was likely to produce good results going forward, or even for David Hanson as well, David Swensen himself. It didn't. Nevertheless, the drive to imitate Swensen was overwhelming, even if it became senseless in its particulars. Major institutional investment consultants turned the fascination and envy over Swensen's results and what they thought or pretended was an expert system, the endowment model. I'm hearing a guy on my YouTube channel. Actually, well, I'm not going to read it, but we'll read it. Every time Papa says, look at me, Daddy. Hi. I got a guy on my YouTube channel that says, French and family dispute what you're saying, Scanlon. I'm like, oh boy, we're going back to this. This is silly. All right. Let's see. An expert system is an attempt to embody the AI program, whatever that is that an expert does. This is done by observing what the expert does or questions her about it and then modeling it as a kind of algorithm. So that can be applied by those who don't have access to the expert. My knowledge of this algorithm comes largely from reading a book about it in 2010, The Endowment Model of Investing by Martin Leibowitz. All right, I wrote a scathing review of that book in July. I won't go into detail about what I wrote, but suffice it to quote one sentence. The book is a lengthy and repetitious exposition of a worthless, fraudulent pseudoscience. The point of the book was to pretend using a Markowitz-type asset allocation model to force a high but not too high allocation alternatives such as hedge funds and private equity. The book said the model had to be tortured to make it do this. Okay. You can read the rest. I just want to go into some of these. It's freaking awesome. I will read some of the comments here. This is fantastic. So right here, I say literally nothing more needs to be said, but it's always fun to read Michael skewering these folks anyway. Oh, I need to add the classic. But Michael, it's a down market when the active managers make their money. Of course, I say yes. The down markets, the active managers make their money, and the up markets too, and the sideways markets as well. Anyway, Michelle says, excellent article. More needs to be written on this topic. Thank you. And well, there's tons written on it. We don't need, I mean, people can keep writing on it, but tons have been written on it. Anyway, this was what's crazy right here. Larry Siegel. I want to see right here. The two conditions are that if you can beat the index, that you believe successful active managers exist, and there are some, and they exist other than by luck. I don't believe that. I think successful managers do exist because it's luck. And you believe that you have the skill to pick those successful managers from a population of active managers. In advance, by the way. All right. And that's all the endowment model is. They say they think they can do successfully active management, and they can do it. They can pick who the successful managers are in advance. That's impossible, to quote Ralph Wiggum. All right. I want to say. Please see my write-up of ideas at this place right here. I point out the spectacular failure is time dependent, and that 12 years is way too short a time to decide whether an investment style is any good. With that logic, you would have bailed on stocks and bonds many times in the last century. I'm like, dude. So I comment, I said, whoa. 12 years is way too short to a time to decide whether an investment style is any good. I said, damn, man. The modern capital markets have been around for all of what, 100 years? By the time we determine what's a good investment style, we're all dead. If only there were a way to determine a pretty good investment style. In the meantime, where we capture the market returns. Dude, can we stop this idea that someone has a better mousetrap? I don't care if it's French Fama. I don't care if it's David Swenson. I don't care who, Kathy Woods. I don't care. Stop. You don't. You're going to underperform by the extent of your fees. That's it, what it comes down to, always and everywhere. If you're trying to beat the market and you're charging a fee, you're inherently going to either be incredibly risky, i.e. the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund, 40 stocks, that's it. That's the only way you beat the market. But you also get killed too. Or you're freaking going to be a closet indexer. And if you're a closet indexer, you are going to lose relative to the market. Anyway, love it. My man Michael says, read anything that dude writes, read it. All right, we'll see you.